What is going on, everybody? Back again, another Saturday special for you. This one in the afternoon time, the POS Postgame Overreaction Show presented by UJSports.com. I'm your host, Paul Maharry, joined alongside Dane Young in the car after a great watch-along show with Russ Tanner. I actually watched, and Dane, don't get mad at me, Dane. I don't watch you guys the whole time. Most of the time, I'm watching the game.
What?
Yeah.
What?
But I watched you guys literally for the whole second half, man, and really enjoyed it with Russ Tanner. He knew a heck of a lot more about this Georgia football team than I thought he would. He was naming guys on the roster that I didn't even know what number they were.
Yeah, Russ is just fantastic, and I say that on a personal level, he's done 2 of my mortgages, which is kind of helpful. But also just like
I need to hit him up.
Yeah, you should, because they do a good job there. AthensLender.com, Russ Tanner. But like his love for Georgia football, his knowledge for it, man, he could drop Mortgage Life and do media stuff anytime he wanted to. He's just got that personality, and then he knows his stuff, man. And not only just being a former player, but paying attention to the current guys, paying attention to recruiting. It was funny sitting in the middle of him and Roddy, because half the time he's needling Roddy of like, hey, man, can you give me a little recruiting scoop? There's a few guys I'm interested about.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Overall, though, 56-7 Charleston Southern. Dane, I almost had a UGA Sports exclusive with the offensive coordinator for Georgia Southern. I know his brother very well, but they wanted to come in to Athens and get out of Athens. I would say after that audio that leaked from Kirby at halftime from the Florida game, they didn't want any more motivation for this game, and rightfully so. But I think we are going to be able to eventually get the offensive coordinator from Charleston Southern in the offseason to talk to him about, going up against Georgia's defense. And especially if Georgia makes a big run, I think that would be some pretty cool insight. So almost had that for you guys on YouTube, but Charleston Southern SID decided to come in, get their money. And that's what they did. 56-7, Dane. What initial thoughts? We do this every week, kind of the initial thoughts of the game. We knew Georgia was going to win, right? I think I want to say I'm going to go look. I want to say I picked 56-3, so I was kind of close. But what was your initial thoughts, man?
I picked 69-0 because I'm a child, and that's just what I do these days.
Yeah, you've done that twice now.
I've done it 3 times, and I was almost right the first time. Like Vanderbilt should have been that, but Carson Beck threw a pick or something. Like I was really mad.
Hey, we actually have that. We have, before you get your initial thoughts, we've got a fan with us that joined us live. I think he's in his man cave. Hey, Kevin, what's up, man? Look at that. I can't hear you. Hey, Kevin, you're muted. Let's see. Can you unmute yourself?
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
What's up,
See
man?
my man cave in the garage.
I'm digging it. Sat it out there for a 56-7 victory, huh?
Yeah, man. I just wanted to give you guys a call. Really dig the college or the watch along party. Got a buddy of mine in Washington State who started watching the show. He doesn't get he didn't get the game today, but he listened in, and just want to give you guys a shout out, man. Say hey.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. What's on the docket for tonight? What game are you looking forward to tonight to watch? Anything in particular?
Honestly, I might watch the Utah and Oregon game. It's kind of interesting that they are not favored in that game.
Yeah, 3.5-point dog Oregon is in that game.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy if they're the number 3 team in the country. But funny scenario. I got a buddy of mine who's a huge Ohio State fan. We've been friends for many, many years. And honestly, I'm like, it may come down to the best defense in college football versus what seems to be the best offense in college football when it all comes to the end. So
we're gonna definitely discuss that a bunch this episode. Ohio State, also Florida losing to Missouri. Aaron Callaway says is what he's looking forward to. So so we'll see about that as well.
But man, I don't want to take you guys' time. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah. You guys have a good evening, and go Dogs.
Yeah, man, you too. Have a good one. Take it easy. Dane, you with me? There he is.
Yeah, I'm here. My internet was being a little spotty, so I'm trying to move closer to like Watkinsville, but not break too many laws in the process.
Hey, nah. If you get pulled over, just tell me with UGA Sports. That's gotten me out of many tickets.
I'll tell him Paul Maharry is on the other line, and he can talk.
Yes, yeah. No, we can put the cop live on YouTube. It would be great. 56-7 though. We were getting your initial thoughts. Kevin came in with his awesome man cave. We appreciate that. 56-7 initial thoughts there, Dane, on the game.
Yeah, I'm glad that Kevin joined. That was really cool, and thanks for watching and doing everything that supporting everything that we have going on. Initial thoughts is Georgia accomplished what it wanted to. No one got hurt. At least anything that we saw. Jordan Davis got a rushing touchdown, which is cool. Just to have something fun to talk about. Yeah. As a whole, I don't know that there's much you can say other than when Georgia's beef on the lines of scrimmage on both sides when he gets paired against a team that has none. Man, it's this was a mismatch from the very beginning, and Georgia did what it's supposed to do against a team like that. And frankly, I think next week's going to be pretty similar. Georgia Tech's obviously better than Charleston Southern, but not to the degree that Georgia is better than Georgia Tech.
We've got some folks in the chat, Dane, and it's before we get to them, I'm going to get to Kale Stone said, Blaylock back, and if we can get Pickens back against Tech, I love our chances even more against Satan. Mint Saban. LOL, go Dogs. Yeah, good to see Blaylock back out there. He caught, let's see, what did he have? Two receptions, I think? Yeah, 2 receptions for 11 yards.
Yeah, and
he had the 1 10-yard where he got kind of trampled on a little bit, twisted, and got right back up and went back out there.
Yeah, it was a tough catch. A good throw from it was Carson Beck, I'm pretty sure. Kind of to the inside, he had to go down and catch it. And in traffic, good to see Don Blaylock out there. I don't see Don Blaylock as being a massive piece in Georgia's like kind of stretch run to a potential title here, just because he hasn't played a whole lot. But to have him, his experience, and what he's overcome to get back here, you love to see him get rewarded to be able to play.
This is the overreaction show, Dane, so I'm going to overreact a little bit. Was that the last time we will see George Pickens in a full uniform at Georgia?
Was that the last time that you're saying in Athens?
Yes, in Athens, yes. Is that why he...
That's the last time that we'll see...
Dane went in and out on his hot take. He's driving home, guys. So Dane went in and out on his hot take there. But while we're waiting on Dane to come back, we'll get to some of you guys' comments. Roddy's going to join us here in just a bit when he gets home. Let's go Dogs from Richard. And then you guys really want to talk about Ohio State, and I do too. Jim said it. Ohio State looks scary good today. I don't know. I don't know if Ohio State necessarily... They did look great. They look great. But at the same time, was Michigan State overrated? You have to kind of look into that. I don't know what's going on. We got to add on the ESPN. Michigan State's pass defense was 130th out of 130th in the nation. So they got beat up. CJ Stroud went for a ton against them. Let's see here. We've got Dane back now. I'm going to try to add him back in if I can. Dane, you back?
Yeah, man, that's infinitely better. I think I hit a different cell tower. So,
so
try
you
to
were
produce on the fly.
You were right in the middle of your hot take overreaction. Was this George Pickens' final game in Athens because he dressed out?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't even know if that's a hot take. I think that's pretty assumed. With the talent that he has. The thing is, you hope to see George Pickens play a meaningful part in the season because when he is healthy and ready and available, he's Georgia's best offensive player. And there's an argument that he would be Georgia's best player, period. I mean, he's just such a game changer. So I would personally love to see him return at Georgia Tech because I think that's quite poetic considering what happened the last time he played at Georgia Tech. Very poetic, yes. But we'll see if that's the case.
So I want to kind of see if we're noticing a trend here. Don Blaylock dressed out. I think it was last week, fully dressed out. And then he played this week a little bit. George Pickens dressed out this week fully, pads and all. Maybe that's leading into next week, getting a few snaps. And then, I mean, it's going to be tough, though. And I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's going to be tough for Pickens to just come in, and everybody's going to expect the world out of Pickens to come in. But if his first game in meaningful action is against Alabama in the SEC championship game, that's a tough task. Like, do you see where I'm going with that, Dane?
Yeah, there's more reason that if you can get him to play against Georgia Tech, it's going to be helpful for the team, right? Because trotting him out there against Alabama, maybe that's causes more problems than it solves. And you wonder how much can a week really make a difference in his injury recovery. At this stage, if he can run and he can play, it seems like it's all about confidence and reps. So I don't know. I'm not the doctor on that one. I guess Dr. James Andrews could tell you.
Yeah, and also maybe it messes up the flow of the other wide receivers. I don't know if that's so much the case because you've had so many wide receivers go down and come back. I just think that your offense is really running at and this is not to say leave Pickens on the sidelines. If Pickens is healthy, we've lost. There we go. We're good. We didn't lose anybody. That was my internet. There are negatives, though, I think, that him coming back can cause, but the positives definitely outweigh the negatives with Pickens.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He's an obvious talent. Here's the thing with Pickens, too. If that dude's right, not only is Georgia's offense just going to be more explosive, it's just going to be more fun, man. He does stuff that, like, I haven't seen at Georgia in a decade, going back to maybe A.J. Green that had some similar skill set, just in terms of ball skills, catch radius, all that good stuff that people smarter with football, could say with more authority than I can. But overall, Georgia's in a really good spot, right? That we're kind of counting down days to you get one take in Atlanta with Georgia Tech, and then you're right back in Atlanta against presumably Alabama, which I guess we'll know that for sure at the end of today, and if something crazy happens with Arkansas at the end of next week.
Yeah, it's right now 0-0 Alabama, Arkansas. Just started 8 minutes left in the first. It does look like Alabama's on the Arkansas 31, though, so they are driving as usual. Kale Stone says it's better to go against Tech, knock off the dust, and get the confidence back for our superstar in Pickens. To completely agree, Kale. I would have liked to have even seen him if he was ready to go today. Put him out there kind of like Blaylock did. Just a couple passes his way, let him touch the ball, let him feel it out. But it does feel like, and it does seem like, that's going to be sooner than we think, Pickens coming back. Another comment here, Dane, from Jonathan Taylor. JT Daniels' lack of mobility is becoming more and more apparent. I was going to touch on this once Roddy got down, but I'll touch on it with you as well. JT Daniels didn't look that great to me today.
I don't know if you can really take a lot. I mean, the deep pass that he threw, I'd say to a few different Georgia receivers, that's probably a touchdown. Obviously, if it's an Arian Smith, the foot speed's a little faster. I think, was it Jalen Johnson that went off of his hands? Is that right?
One went off Jalen Johnson's hands, and then I want to say he had one, or was that Stetson? The one to 80 Mitchell. I think it was JT. To one to 80 Mitchell, where 80 cut in, and the ball was to the right. Was that JT?
That was Stetson on that.
That was Stetson, okay.
Yeah, Stetson lofted it up kind of to the sideline, and 80 Mitchell cut inside. And it looked like, in my untrained eye, Stetson was kind of like trying to slow his arm or something, and the ball just kind of like still released on him. I did JT look like, the JT against Mississippi State last year? Probably not, but like, at the same time, it's apples and pine cones, and it's hard to compare one to the next. And
I've never heard that. I've heard apples and oranges, apples and pine cones.
Exactly. Apples and oranges are different. Apples and pine cones are more different.
I don't know. It felt weird today with JT Daniels out there, and they did give him reps with the first team. So people have been complaining, right? Oh, he's going out there with the second team O-line. No, he had the first team wide receivers, and he had the first team O-line out there. He did throw the touchdown to Brock, but Brock made a good play on that. I don't know. I don't think there is any doubt in anybody's mind moving forward that this isn't Stetson's team. Stetson has the confidence. I don't know if you saw the Marty Smith piece on ESPN on Twitter today. It's about a 4-minute long piece. I guess they interviewed him last week against Tennessee, and they put it out this week where Stetson says, look, I'm the best quarterback on the team. He says it a little bit nicer than that, but I feel like I'm the best quarterback on the team, and that's how I'm going to play it.
He better believe that. I mean,
right.
For any competitor to think that like the person behind them is better, well, then you've already lost going in because your confidence isn't where you need it to be. The other thing that I saw a quote. I haven't seen that whole interview, which I'm excited to go check it out. But I saw him say that like last year when he was Georgia's quarterback, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the starting quarterback at Georgia."
Yeah,
like,
driving around in his truck. Yeah, driving around in his truck. Yeah.
And then this year, it's like, no, I'm just playing the position. Like I'm doing the job.
Right.
And it sounds like to me, it's a more, at least in his eyes, right? It's different for every person. He views it as more of a mature approach that this really isn't that big of a thing. Whereas last year it was kind of the like, oh, look at me, look at the hot shot that I am. And it may have gotten him in trouble.
It is. But you have to think about it though, Dane. He walked on at Georgia. He went to a JUCO and then came back to Georgia and was starting quarterback. You can't tell me if it was me or you wouldn't be doing the same exact thing, riding around in your truck in Athens being like, I'm the starting QB. Like I would be doing this.
I'm sure I would, but like to me, that's an admission that he felt like he acted in a way that probably bit him in the butt by the end of the season last year. And so he's making sure to not do that again this year. And that's the sign of, I think, a really mature young person. I mean, look, you and I were idiots are. But like, go back to put us at whatever age Stetson Bennett is with all the headlines he gets and the attention he gets. Could you imagine?
Dane, I got thrown out of. I'm going to bring Roddy on, but what's up, Roddy?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, yeah, I got thrown out of Sanford Stadium my first game as a student. So I can only imagine what went through Stetson's mind.
Man, you and I thought we were hot shit when we were on UGA News Source. So
yeah, we were. We were.
Much less rocking ESPN interviews and stuff. So
I sat in the band section, Dane, and they were on the field. I made it at halftime. It was a South Carolina game. I made it at halftime, sat in the band section, was a little too inebriated because our apartment complex threw us a party. I sat in the band section. They came back. They were like, "You're in our section." I was like, "No, there's nobody sitting here." And then I was then told to get up and go. I went and got some nachos and made it back to my apartment complex and woke up about 9 p.m. ready to go back downtown. That was my first game day in Athens. It was quite a scene because I couldn't get into I couldn't get into UGA as a freshman. I was too dumb, so I had to transfer in. So that's what happened.
Did you try to get in a fight with a band member? Because you have to go with like a trumpet and not a tuba.
No, it was definitely like a tuba dude that was like coming to sit back down, and it was not.
Don't lie, it was one of those little piccolo players. She ran you off, man.
Yeah. Hey, Dane, we've got Brent here, so I think we've got the show covered. You can go take a nap or take care of those kids, one of the two.
Yeah,
I'll probably try to do the first and end up doing the second, and then maybe I'll pop back on later if I decide I'd rather do this than that.
Yes, there you go. It's always open. The link is always open, my friend.
Right, see you guys.
See you, man. Brent, what's going on?
Not much. How we doing?
Doing good, man. 56-7.
Got that ISP provided by Potato?
Yeah. Your internet's amazing, Brent. I don't know if
really.
It's complete sarcasm.
I would hope so because it's not that amazing.
56-7, Brent. Schematically, you're the scheme guy. See anything today that popped off the chart to you?
Channing Tindall on the edge a lot. I think that was one, and then Chaz Chambliss being that, because Nolan didn't play, and then him getting a lot earlier reps, not necessarily more reps. It was the earlier reps that he got, and that to me says, hey, he's doing something in practice and doing the right things and making plays in practice, that he's getting those earlier reps. So from a scheme standpoint, that was probably the most impactful thing of the day, and I wrote that in the postgame piece that I've already submitted. But the other thing I thought was interesting was they tried to get Darnell the ball a lot, and it just didn't happen. He only had the one target, on the go route down the sideline that kind of got thrown past him as opposed to more of a jump ball type throw. But there was another 3-4 plays where you could tell he was the primary guy, and he just wasn't. There was somebody right there with him when Stetson or JT was ready to throw the ball on the check, and then they went to other places or check down. So that's one where, like, to me, you can't forget about that guy, and it's the passing game.
Yeah, Roddy, your kind of initial thoughts. First of all, really cool show with Russ Tanner today, by the way. Really enjoyed that. And I told Dane, I said, look, don't be mad at me, Dane. I don't watch the show as often as I should. I tune in when it's you guys, but it was Charleston Southern. The guys on TV were absolutely terrible. Calling Jordan Davis, Zirkle, and everything like that, and this, that, and the other.
Lad to walk on.
Yeah, it was like every 3 or 4 sentences out of his mouth, something was wrong. And so I just turned the volume down. I turned you guys on and really enjoyed that with Russ Tanner. And he had a ton of insight that, I guess from a former player, I would think, but he knew a lot more than I really thought he would.
Yeah, especially for an offensive lineman, those guys.
Jeez.
Those guys eat a lot of
ripping
paint.
them.
They eat a lot of paint chips. Hey, no, I was I played a little offensive line myself, so I can. Not, of course, not at that level. Hell, not even at a good level. I'm just saying, I like the big beefy boys. Everybody thinks that the heavier you are, the dumber you are. But now guys like the Stinchcomb brothers and Russ Tanner show you that there's a mind, and that just because they have no neck doesn't mean they have no brain. Those guys are absolutely pretty bright, pretty intelligent. He made a lot of good comments about the defense. He made some good comments about the quarterback situation, the tailbacks, and a lot about what it's like to be an upperclassman, to be an underclassman, but then what it's like to be an upperclassman when you're playing a team that you expect to beat 56-7. Because I'm like, hey, what? If you're James Cook, don't you want to go out there and score like 300 yards? You get the crap kicked out of you against Tennessee and Auburn and Florida and all the tough games. But then when you play somebody that's a little bit easier, just selfishly, I'd be like, hey, don't pull me out, coach. You made me get all them hard yards. I want these easy yards. I want to get some numbers. I want to go to town. And you pull those guys out. The younger guys get in, and you're like, oh, that's great. But, those guys couldn't do that against Alabama or Florida. Why should they get all the – but he pointed out, I said, look, you get out there, you played some, you've had a good day, but now you're so excited for your teammates to actually get a shot. The guys that were with you on those 5 a.m. lifts, those guys that did the skull sessions with you, that did the hot chair with you, the guys that skipped Thanksgiving and stayed in town with you because nobody went home. Those guys that lifted all those weights with you, you get excited to see them go out there, and they come to the sideline and you're cheering for them. When you're young and you get to the sideline, the old heads, as he calls them, are all patting you on the back, telling you great job, or ripping you a new ass if you screwed up. And he says it the same way when he was an upperclassman, he talked about trying to get his knee braces off quietly, so they don't get busted by your position coach. But you're just trying to you're looking for snacks and stuff like that. But it was just great insight on a game like today. And then just some fundamental stuff is like that needs to be fixed before you face Alabama. That needs to be fixed before you face Alabama. Oh, you better fix that. Or, hey, that's going to work. What we're doing right here, this is going to work. And he called a lot of plays just like Coach Johnson does. He saw the formations. He's like, okay, this is a run into the boundary. It was run into the boundary. Having former players, I get tired of seeing a lot of, just because a guy played, you put him on a broadcast and they're terrible. Yeah. Guys like Donnan and guys like Russ are former players and coaches who are great on a broadcast, and we were very lucky to have Russ on the show today. He did a great job.
Brent, you've got a little background noise there, Brent, but before we let you go, any things you want to move forward on Georgia Tech? Looking forward to on Georgia Tech.
Did you see the score of their game right now?
Oh yeah, what is it?
It's pretty bad. It's 38-0.
Really bad. 38 in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's 38.
I think they're looking ahead to next week as well already. I know, get through that game and take care of your business, much like this one, and then move on. But it was just was a good senior day. Seeing Jordan Davis get the touchdown run was awesome. Which, by the way, though, his run before the touchdown run was infinitely better. Like, that was legit, like, off the ground, true athleticism. The touchdown run, he kind of got tripped up and just, being 6'6", fell into the end zone. But the one before that was awesome. But just a great day.
He jumped from like the 5-yard line. If you're going to if you're going over the top of the pile, maybe wait till you get to the pile before you make leap.
So on the touchdown for Jordan Davis's touchdown, all I saw was I can assume it was Erickson's hand. It was a white hand like reaching up, like, please save me, because what do you have there?
45-0.
45-0. Good Lord. But all I could see was
first half.
All I could see was a white hand reaching up, like, save me, because Jordan Davis and like 3 other guys were on top of him after that touchdown. And it was like a hand coming up out of like Halloween. It was just like, you could just see it shaking when Jordan.
Yeah, I think it was Erickson though.
I think it was Erickson. So hope he's all right for next week, because that hurt. That definitely hurt.
The other thought I think with this though is that, like, you watch today and what happened today while the Georgia game was going on, is you need to be a big Michigan fan right now, because their style of play suits your style of play way better than what Ohio State's does. And I said this like long time ago on the Around the League show. Like, Ohio State is the one team to me that just doesn't look like fun to play.
Is their defense good enough to stop
talented enough?
Offense? They are
talented enough. The good enough part is a great question, but definitely talented enough. And they've gotten better throughout the year. And they changed the play callers. They changed a lot of things from a schematic standpoint as well. Because Oregon obviously just torched them. I would be big Michigan fans, because I think that one's next week as well.
I think that spread might be 20 as well, considering how they came out against Michigan State. It might be.
It close. Is, but I mean, that was at least on the road. That's at Michigan. So maybe it's probably still going to be 14 at least, I would bet.
Yeah.
All right. See, I'm worried about. We were talking about this on the Watch Along show. The possible teams that you would see in that. I know it's going to sound weird, but if I'm a Georgia fan, I'm more worried about Ohio State than I am Alabama. I know Alabama's can attack you, and they've got great receivers, but I'm just thinking this is a team whose offensive strength, and we hear this every week, this is the first team that's going to challenge Georgia's defense. It was Arkansas. Hell, first it was UAB, then it was Arkansas, then it was Kentucky, and then Missouri with a running quarterback, and then Tennessee. And Tennessee had a little bit there. South Carolina had a good wide receiver. Van go a bit on you. Tennessee had Tillman get 200 yards on you through the air. But I'm looking at the offense at Ohio State. I'm like, all right, this is something serious here. And again, that sounds weird to say you're more worried about Ohio State than Alabama, because you should be damn scared of Alabama. But that is a team. I'm with you there 100%, Brent. I just think that what Ohio State does, that's finally the one that can – their strength that can match your strength. I don't know who would come out on top on that situation, but Georgia had, when they're tested, when the secondary's tested, they've come up short a few times.
When it's not like those receivers are just good, they're like first round draft pick. They're what Alabama just got rid of, just necessarily got rid of, but just had with 4 first round guys. That's what Ohio State has right now. The fact that, like, when you think about Alabama, their best receiver was Ohio State's 4th receiver.
Yeah,
maybe even 5th.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
So that's how scary Ohio State is, especially on the outside.
So hopefully they lose, and then you beat Alabama in the title game, and then you wind up playing Cincinnati and Oregon in the title game. Take it out. So that's how we get that the T-shirts and the hats and all the 2021 national champions. You get Cincinnati in the first round and Oregon in the second round, and you just win the whole damn thing.
Yep. Oregon tonight is a 3.5-point dog to Utah.
Really?
I told you guys last week. I said Utah, this is going to be Oregon's slip-up game, and Vegas is with me. Utah is a 3.5-point favorite at home against number 3 Oregon.
Well, and I think they'll likely have to play them again.
Thank you. I'm like, you might have to beat their ass twice. So good luck with that.
Utah is Oregon's what is it called? Kryptonite. For whatever reason, that's their team.
Yeah, on the Around the League show on Thursday, I was like, all right, so here's who I think it will be. And then here's who I'm kind of rooting for. If you're a Georgia fan, I think who you should root for. And I think you should root for Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State as your Final Four. Or maybe Notre Dame. Or Notre Dame.
All
or
day.
you get Notre Dame in round one.
All day.
I remember Notre Dame was like 11th or 12th in one of the first rankings, and they only had the one loss. I'm like, guys, this always happens. You think Notre Dame's out of it because they lose at some point early in the season. And sometimes it's an inexplicable loss or it's a loss to a decent team, but then they finish with a bunch of nobodies. And they're at the end of the year, they're 11-1, 12-1, something like that. Back in the days, it was 10-1 or 9-1. I'm like, but they have the history behind them and that muscle memory of, Notre Dame's available, put them in. It happens. And you see they get into the playoffs or they get into a bowl, a New Year's Six game, and they get the brakes beat off of them. And you're like, why are they here? This happens all the time. Well, there was that one time when they won it all. So my point being, and this is why I was worried a few weeks ago. I'm like, look, Georgia, you need some other teams to lose. You're going to have to win out like you plan to, and you need some other teams to lose so that you can get a mulligan. And we said this with the Clemson game. We said if Georgia loses a Clemson game, they have to win out. But if they win the Clemson game and win out, then they get a mulligan at some point down the way. But then I was kind of worried. I'm like, if you had a bunch of undefeated teams and a bunch of one-loss teams, and you lose to Alabama in the SEC title game, they're going to say, hey, look, you had your chance to get in.
Yeah, Cincinnati's at 4 now. You're at 5.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Oh, and this is the year we need to put in a non,
right, this
Power
would be the
5
year.
team.
Yep.
It would be every time there's that exception, like, they didn't win the conference. Georgia, you can't be in it. You have to drop out. Then a couple years later, Alabama didn't win the conference. That's okay. We can let them play. Georgia's always the exception to the rule, or some they get screwed over some way. So I was saying, look, we just need some teams to lose, and that has happened. So, to me, you're in now. You're going to go boat race. You're going to finish the season 12-0, and I don't care what happens, unless you lose by 50 to Alabama. But even then, all the pundits will say, well, they're just resting up for the playoffs. So stick them in the playoffs.
And you're not dropping your consensus number one the entire way to 5. It's just not happening. I will say, Mr. Beyond or Miss maybe Beyond Creative with some interesting things there in the chat. Nobody. That's very true, 100% very true. Because C.J. Stroud, I mean, he probably could have not worn pads today and been just fine.
Wow.
He didn't get touched.
Yeah, he didn't get touched.
Because I had the game on my computer screen and then the Ohio State game on the TV. He didn't get touched. But he's also not a running threat. And if I'm someone who wants to, or if I want to beat Georgia, I want to have that running threat as a at the QB position in addition to the throwing game. Because like even with, Mac Jones was a little bit different, but they had such elite receivers. Then you had Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was definitely a running threat, and that was a big deal in that game. So, and Stroud doesn't run at all. I think between him and Bryce Young, they have, I think, 5 yards combined on design runs the whole season.
Jeez. Stetson does that in the first quarter.
So, I do think that, those are two things if you think about from Ohio State's perspective. They haven't played that level of pressure, and also he's just not the running threat.
Yeah.
Did you see anything, Brent? Did you see anything schematically different this week? It seemed to me this was I don't want to say it was a vanilla game, but it seemed like, hey, let's run a counter play. Just picked up 40 yards. Let's run inside zone. Picked up 9. Let's a couple RPI. I mean, honestly, God, it looked like a very boring scrimmage. And
it was.
Georgia only scored 56, but it felt like if they'd wanted to, I mean, they could have just.
Very much so. And I don't think they didn't run any. And I've heard people say this or read on the event, people talk about how Monken still has like 50% of his playbook. No, he doesn't. They have their plays. Now, what they do have, I think, is a lot of those plays with the window dressing maybe that they haven't put out there. Hey, we're going to run this same play from a different formation with different motions, things like that. But the one thing I think from the playbook that I saw today that I was like, okay, it didn't work against Tennessee, so they wanted to get that where Cook went right before the snap. Cook sprints out wide, and normally that's a bubble screen to Cook. But against Tennessee, they tried to, and I think Stetson ran the ball, but they tried to slip Bowers in after looking out wide to Cook, and they ran that play today against Charleston Southern. Had got like 6 or 7 yards maybe, but that's really the only one you're like, okay, they wanted to see that play get run on tape and have some success with that play.
A lot of tunnel screens today. Saw that one.
I did see. Yeah.
Go ahead. There was that one RPO where they had Ladd McConkey at the bottom of the screen with Brock Bowers in front of him. He turns, the minute the ball snapped, you could throw it to him, but they handed it off up the middle for like 7 yards. I'm like, well, just pick. The only thing I saw different was to see James Cook and Kenny Mack on, bracketing the quarterback before the ball was snapped.
They did do that once against Tennessee. I think once against Tennessee because that was one of the ones we had on the YouTube thing with that Dane and I did earlier in the week on the running game. But yeah, like you said, I think it was very much this is stuff we run all year. We're just going to keep running it, and then obviously going to have a whole ton of success doing it.
The variation is who you have lining up, and it was driving me a little crazy because even the official UGA roster could keep up with some of the numbers, Yeah. And some guys I forgot were on the squad. I'm like, oh yeah, Jonathan Jefferson. Yeah, okay. Oh, I did not realize Dylan Fairchild was wearing that number. Hey, there's Austin Blasky's back, and Austin's played a good bit this year, but
55.
Dean.
Marlon Dean.
Dean.
He looked very slim.
He's like 6'9".
Yeah,
I mean,
but he looked a lot slimmer than I think he's listed like 275.
275 my ass.
Yeah, he looked like 250, 260. I'll tell you one guy, and I put it on Twitter.
He looked like Alec Ogletree out there is what he looked like.
Yeah, MJ Sherman. My God, like his arms are pythons. Dude is a freak.
Robert Beal looks good too.
Robert Beal looks good, yeah. But MJ Sherman, man, I was watching. I saw him on kickoff and punt return, and I was like, "Who is number 8?" And I was like, "I should know who this is." And I looked it up. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's MJ Sherman." Yeah. I was like, "Whoa, he looks a little bit bigger," and he got to play a lot more on the outside later on in the game. And like Brent said, Chambliss came in early. Chambliss is in like the first quarter. Yeah, first quarter. Chambliss was in there, kind of spelling Beal and those guys.
I think from a looking forward to the future perspective, this game, and it was one of the other things I wrote about, was your linebacking group. Because you got Walker and Tyndall that are seniors, senior day, last game between the hedges, all that. Also likely the last game between the hedges for Nakobe Dean. So those 3 guys, key big-time players for you. And you got to see, to me, what almost carbon copies body-wise. Like Dumas Johnson looks carbon copy almost like Nakobe, maybe an inch taller. Sorey and Munden are tall, lanky, lot like Quay Walker and then Tyndall, like from a size, speed perspective. So those 3 are like, that's your linebacking core next year. And I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, you get Ryan Davis back too. So
Sorey hit somebody in the mouth, read that perfectly, waited, and then he shot the gap and hit that guy right in the mouth for a loss on that run play. That's when he got his shout out on TV, when I was trying to not listen to those guys as much as possible. It was rough.
Justin Morgan McClendon killed a man, when he pulled out, hit a guy 30 yards downfield. Justin Schaefer was dragging bodies. I mean, I feel bad for Charleston Southern. I mean, you're outmanned, you're outmuscled, and those guys aren't going to pull up to hit you, but you did see a lot of future guys out there. You got to see Devin Willett get a lot of snaps, in their guard, and Owen Condon back on the field. To me, it's one of those great days where those guys get work. I did want to, Brent, give me your thoughts on the quarterback situation. To me, there wasn't a whole lot there. It's just hand the ball off or run it, But
I didn't think. I mean, Stetson was very average, both, but they just didn't. It was kind of one of those games where it was almost like even they were going through the motions. Like, I bet his grade is right around, like his PFF grade, I bet is right around 60, 62, because he had 2 touchdowns and he threw the ball sideways. Like, that's a 0 graded play. You're not going to get anything special from a grading perspective for that. The throw to Washington was the one I was a little like, come on, just give him a chance, as opposed to trying to throw it in stride. I was just throw it, take some revolutions off and let him jump ball, go over top of somebody. But outside of that, it was very pedestrian. It looked like, again, the one deep ball to Adonai Mitchell where he kind of starts veering in, ball goes out. I was like, okay, that looks a little off. But it just in general, it's not one that I even care to think much about. He's the guy. He's the guy moving forward. So it wasn't. I'm just curious.
To me, then they went right to JT Daniels. What are your thoughts on how he looked? I mean, everyone says the quarterbacks need to knock the rust off. To me, I'm like, the quarterbacks are the only ones that get that kind of caveat. Offensive lineman goes out there, defensive lineman, do your job.
Exactly.
But then with like Don Blaylock getting in there, thought it was fantastic, and that's a guy who maybe does need to knock the rust off. But again, he hasn't played in like 2 years. Don't give me a guy who played last month. Who played a couple games ago. That guy doesn't need to knock the rust off. So.
And JT was okay. Like it wasn't anything that did bad. It wasn't anything that did great. I did think the throw to Meeks that was a little forced. You could see the safety overhang kind of coming into there, trying to fit it into the tight window. Actually, Beck's throw to Meeks on the sideline that let him go get it. I like that throw as much as any throw that was made in the whole game.
Yeah.
Because you let that guy give that outside shoulder, go make the play. That one was good. But JT, he from a movement, I always just watch his movement and his legs and lower body. And his lower body looks pretty good and comfortable to me.
And what your thoughts on Beck? I mean, Beck had one pretty good play there, but then
the fourth down play was just
that was bad. That was bad.
Because
just throw that away.
It's fourth down. There's only one place to me you put that ball, and that's in the corner pylon, where it's like, okay, my guy just goes and outruns and dives for it or gets it, and that's it. Nobody else. But he kind of threw that across his body. That was one that was definitely not so great. But other than that, not too bad. Not the one throw that Brock made.
There's nobody behind him. The way he threw it, I'm like, that could have been a pick six the other way with only the quarterback able to stop him. I'm just like, triple coverage. But again, I saw what he was seeing. He saw his guy breaking across. He thought, I can thread this needle. That's just tough throw.
The throw that Brock made, I was kind of like, that was just from a mechanics point. And from a mechanics standpoint, it didn't look like he drove into that much.
Yeah.
But that was the only one he had.
That's true.
And that was almost a pick six too. That was an easy pick six if you're playing against somebody else in Charleston Southern. But
Bama's about to put a hurt on Arkansas here again. Get rolling.
Looks like the route's on. Looks like the route is on. 45-0 right now. If you're watching us instead of NBC, Notre Dame over Georgia Tech at halftime. 45-0.
I know these people are broke up about it.
Hey, Michigan 14-0 over Maryland. The hope's alive there.
Michigan against Ohio State, like Michigan does from a stylistic standpoint, the way they pound the ball, the way they control the clock, running game, all that. And then they have two big-time edge rushers in Hutchinson and 55. It starts with an O. I can't remember how you pronounce it. But, like, there's some things that Michigan has that could give Ohio State problem, but I think in the end, Ohio State's going to be too powerful for them, too explosive.
Well, Brent, we'll let you roll out. Looks like we've got Trent Smallwood waiting in the wings.
All right.
So we will bring on him. And Brent, have a good rest of your night. And we'll look forward to the first Film Don't Lie coming out over on UGAsports.com and on YouTube as well now. So
that's right. We're gonna start doing those on video more exclusively.
Those are badass, folks. Be sure to check those out when you get a chance.
All right, appreciate it. See you guys.
Brent. See you, man. Trent Smallwood, the man, the myth, the legend, joining us from his basement, the cellar dweller. What's going on?
What's going on, guys?
56-7, Trent. I think you were able to take your kid, had a good time. Was it just as enjoyable in person as it was on TV? Because it was rough on TV, my man. The announcers were not great.
I left about in the third quarter sometime. But I did enjoy seeing George Pickens running routes before the game. That was pretty. Just to see him back. I mean, he was in with the offense. He was doing everything the team was doing. He was out there cutting. He looked good. But as far as the game, it was it wasn't much to take from it. I think Georgia was pretty much a dominant team. It was pretty impressive to see Zeus hit that corner, and you see how much faster he is, and then you don't understand the talent gap there until you see something like that where he hit the corner and kind of ran away from Charleston Southern secondary. But overall, I thought Georgia came out and did what they were supposed to. You kind of hear people in the stands when you go that said it wasn't like this a couple of years ago. Games like this, it would be 21-7 at half, and you'd still be worrying. But
yeah, you're right.
Georgia's out taking care of business and doing exactly what they need to be doing.
Everybody on Twitter, Trent, said that the stadium was extremely loud when Jordan Davis scored that touchdown. How loud was it? Was it in there?
It was loud when they the hit on his first carry, but when they went to the second carry and they saw them motion the same way and move Jordan Davis to the backfield, the place it got electric. Definitely loud. It's probably the loudest part of the day.
Yeah, there wasn't much more to be loud about. The only thing other crazy play was Charleston Southern's 7 points. I don't know if you were still there or not, Trent, when that happened, but that was absolutely wild.
I was trying to figure out what happened because I saw the bat and the pick. Then all of a sudden the guy's running the other way, and
basically, who got that interception? Who was it?
Was it Sorey?
No, it was Sorey. Yeah, it was Sorey. He came down with it. He starts to run. Next thing you know, the wide receiver just comes up and snatches it out of his hands real quick and takes off. Nobody really knows what's going on. And next thing you know, he's running for a touchdown. And I think it was it might have been LC or it was either Lavoisier Carrell or Kamari Lassiter. It was one of those. It was 12 or 13 trying to chase him down. They just couldn't get there. And so Charleston Southern scored. And they were saying something on TV. I know neither one of you guys heard this because, Roddy, you were doing the show and you were at the stadium, Trent, but they were saying something about how this score is not going to go against the defense in some weird way. They were trying to explain it. Again, these guys, this broadcasting crew, we were on the SEC Network plus crew, right? They were saying something along the lines of how it wasn't going to go against the defensive numbers. We'll have to ask Dave McMahon or Pat. And then they went back on that at the end of the game. They were like, but this still count, against Georgia's total points given up. And I'm just like, what the hell are you talking? I don't understand.
Total points is total points, but it's not the
it counts against their score and defense, but it's not a score against the defense.
So that's what it was.
But then
they just couldn't.
I guess the idea is once the interception's been made, then the 11 guys on the field are now offense. They have the ball.
Correct.
So if it gets stripped away from them, then it's almost like that is a defensive score for Charleston Southern. Because then technically their 11 guys are defense because they're trying to bring the guy down. So even though it was their offense that scored it, it would probably be counted as a defensive score for Charleston Southern.
Yeah, it was.
Either way, you still, I think the average was 7.6 a game or something like that.
Yeah.
Held them a 7, so you keep them under your average. Although it would have been nice to go 0, and then you would have been able to say take the total number of points scored and divide it by 11 games instead of 10 games. But
I wonder what the lowest. When's the last time somebody had 7 points a game through 12 games?
That's been a while, I would imagine. That would be.
Hey, where's our man Dash? Dave with the stats.
I know. Where is Dave? What you got on the screen for us here, Roddy? While you've got this pulled up, looks like some. I'm
just while y'all are talking a bunch of bullshit. I'm just going through and looking at vape cartridges and hemp sticks and liniment salves and stuff like that. It's our friends over at Rogue Apothecary. They are our newest sponsor of the Postgame Overreaction Show. They sell hemp products, herbs, tinctures, topicals, stuff like that. One of the main reasons we brought them on is not so much for their Delta 8 and stuff like that, but they do have some stuff that's really good for anti-inflammatory type stuff. And I was looking at their Life Essence CBD limit. This is a lot of folks at our Texas site swear by this stuff. And it's not, they're not getting paid to do it. These are people who have bought it from Rogue Apothecary, then go on Orange Bloods and say, this stuff saved my life. This stuff has been fantastic. This stuff has done wonders for me. And you basically have a disabled vet, guys that used to play college football and went into the military, did tours in Iraq, got banged up over there, came back and couldn't quite find something to help him get healed, and then found out about CBD and just absolutely swears by it. I was a little hesitant. I'm like, I don't know if CBD works, but I didn't want to be the one judging for our customers, our readers and stuff. So I said, look, we'll put it out there and see. And so far, the reception has been fantastic. So just want to let everybody know about Rogue Apothecary. We appreciate them sponsoring our show. And if you go to the dog vent, they once a week, once every other week, they will have a special going on. So the guy does a great job, and we want to thank them for sponsoring our Postgame Overreaction Show.
Appreciate it, Rogue. And if you need your stuff, hit them up. Got a cool comment here, Roddy.
Yeah.
When UGA scored, Sanford went nuts. Bought tickets from a season ticket holder on UGAsports.com. If you guys don't know, we have that dog trade over there. It was my son's first game. Good memories. Seeing 99 in the end zone made it worth every penny. Glad you guys got to enjoy it, BK UGA, and glad you are a subscriber to UGAsports.com and also to our YouTube page. So we hit 20,000. We hit 20,000, guys.
20,000 subscribers to the YouTube page. That's big. Just a quick note, folks. Be sure if you're on the dog trade and you're buying tickets and parking passes and box seats and all that stuff, with the SEC championship coming up and playoff games and hopefully a national title game, don't just buy tickets from anybody you see over there. It's not unheard of for somebody to make a fake account, buy a subscription to UGA Sports, go over there and say, hey, I'm Dog Fan 98. I've got tickets, for the title game for, $2,000 for 10 tickets or something like that. And all of a sudden they want, they sound really good. Be sure that when you click on their name that they've been there a long time, that they've been an active member of the site. Just be a little suspicious. We don't know who they are, so we can't just kick people off on the suspicion that they may or may not be a scam artist. But it's same with rivals, the same in any website. The more pricey the tickets get, the more it draws out some absolute dirt bags. So just be sure that if you're like BK UGA, you buy tickets from somebody on the board that you know or trust, or has, other people can vouch for them, or they've been a member of the site for a while. They've got a lot of comments. They're not just, their first post wasn't, hey, I want to sell $2,000 worth of tickets.
Yeah, exactly. Bring up let's see if I can add this in here. Bring this up. See if we can.
Oh man, I didn't thought about the stats.
Yeah. Let's get the stats up here. You want to go that? Yeah, let's do.
No, go that way. Yeah, it's bigger.
Yeah, let's go. It's bigger that way. Here's Georgia on the defensive side of the ball. Again, you see his name up there. Dumas Johnson, 6 total tackles. Brent mentioned him. I think he starts at middle linebacker next year.
Got a pick 6 earlier this year.
This, just so you know, Roddy, this PFF report card tomorrow is going to take me 6 hours with the amount of guys that played in this damn game. So,
and Trent's snap count's going to be fun too.
Yeah. This is going to take forever.
There was numbers out there that I didn't even know Georgia had numbers to players. I didn't even.
I'm saying
some of them weren't even updated on. I had the official roster. I went into it. I'm like, okay, we're going to see some numbers, and we're going. Who the hell's 92?
Yeah.
It's Julian Rochester. And I'm like,
I had no idea.
He was 5, but no, Keely Ringo's 5. I'm like, oh.
Well, I know Don Blaylock came in on punt return, had a different jersey on. And the next time he got penalized for it because they wore 2 number 8s. But that time he didn't change. He changed jerseys the first time, and he was like number 83 or something. I said, "Who is that?"
Yeah. They had somebody else. Who is 87? He had 2 knee braces on going back to return a punt. Who is 87?
Yeah, that was a walk-on. I can't remember what his name was, but
I just saw him and I was like, "Is that Tyler Simmons? Is he back?"
He was on sides.
Well, I'm like, yeah, he's on sides right there. He's got 2 knee braces. It makes sense. He's a little older now. I had no idea who that was. But none of these names up at the top of the list are your normal names because obviously Georgia's first team got in and out pretty fast. Javon Bullard with 6 tackles, Munden with 4 for Lassiter, 3 for LC. LC had a pretty bad pass interference call on him, just didn't turn his head around. But at the same time, that was the first time I want to say he's been in the game at defensive back because he was recruited as a running back. That was the first time I saw him on the field as a defensive back. Trent, correct me if I'm wrong with the participation chart, but I want to say that was the first time he was in the game.
Yeah.
In that capacity. He might be on punt return or something like that, but actually playing at defensive back.
Yeah.
That was the first time.
No, I think he played is it game 2?
He did? Okay.
I think it's been since then he's played.
I
thought William Poole looked good at nickel.
Yes, I was going to say
his stats are not mind-boggling, but I thought he blew up a screen one time that allowed Dan Jackson to come in and get a big hit, and I thought he played good.
He had an open field tackle too. That's pretty good.
He did.
They brought him in very quickly when Brainy got that defensive pass interference or defensive holding.
Yeah, Brainy is definitely if there's anything to learn from these last 2 games, he is definitely on a short leash, and they are not afraid to pull him out if necessary.
Oh, that's not his normal position. I mean, he's been there for the year, but remember, this guy spent 3 years learning to be a safety.
Yeah, and he's great against the run. It's against the pass that he has a little trouble with, and that's what's coming up.
Right, and that's why I'm earlier in the year I said, look, Georgia has some issues that the coaches are worried about. And I'm not going to, we didn't go stick them in a column or write about them all the time, but I did mention Georgia's secondary is a mishmash. You've got a transfer from Clemson. You got a redshirt freshman that's never played. You've got, Lewis Seen on the back end who's really good, but you've got a new star. He only played it in the Peach Bowl. He never played before. Then you got, William Poole, Amir Speed, Chris Smith. Yeah. These are guys that, were beat out for many years prior. They're good, but they're not Eric Stokes and Tyson Campbell, guys like that. These aren't, this isn't a Richard LeCount, who's starting by his sophomore year. So, but, they've matured and they've gotten better. And Latavius Brini has knocked down some big passes. Chris Smith has had some huge games. Some guys mature later in the process. But I said, when you're moving all these guys around early in the year, you might get torched. That's one of the reasons. That's what I thought was going to happen at Clemson. I'm like, you're not going to be able to attack Georgia's front 7, but they're going to pick apart the secondary. I thought DJ Ongalele was going to be a lot better and he'd have time to throw. It turned out that didn't happen. But I said, look, be patient because by the end of the year, the secondary is going to be fantastic, or it'll at least be a lot better. Part of that's happened. They have gotten better, but they are still susceptible from the star and the safety spots through the air. And you saw Tillman at Tennessee get 200 yards on them. You saw Van at South Carolina get some big hits. Tennessee actually dropped some big passes. Auburn dropped passes. Demetrius Robertson dropped 3 or 4. If you hit a team like Alabama with Minchie, he's not going to drop a whole lot. Jameson, he's not going to drop a whole lot. Ohio State's not going to drop any. That's when you got to be a little bit nervous about the teams they're going to face down the road at secondary. And they're going to look at the tape and go, okay, we're going to attack the star. We're going right after him. And because they're not only is Latavius a little susceptible in the passing game, but you're also thin there.
Yep.
You don't have a lot of guys you can move there. You've basically got one. The guy you brought in as a transfer has got a torn ACL. So this is why everyone's like, oh, Georgia's defense will be fine. Your defensive front 7 will be fine. But that's not all the defense, And, yeah, Bryce Young can't throw it. He can't attack your corner, or your star. He can't attack your safeties if he's flat on his back. But, you better hope you get him on his back every time.
10-7.
Oh, Arkansas scored?
Yep.
Let's go Hogs.
Uh-oh, come on, Sam Pittman. Turn the jukebox on.
Man, I love Sam Pittman. If he got a win like that,
I didn't get to see much of him, but I heard Ingram Dawkins over the radio that he was playing pretty good on the defensive line.
Yes, I really like Ingram Dawkins. I think he's going to take a big step next year when all those guys are gone.
Dude, he and Jonathan Jefferson side by side, that really felt like a look into the future.
Yes.
Ingram, Dawkins. Oh, and Nazir Stackhouse, who was out there like before those guys. I'm like, yeah, you're losing. Again, we mentioned it earlier in the week. There are only two starters who are guaranteed to come back next year on Georgia's defense. This is how much attrition and flights to the NFL you could have. You basically get Jalen Carter back and Keely Ringo. Nakobe Dean could be gone. Jordan Davis
Nolan
is
Smith.
gone. Yeah, Channing Tindall's gone. Quay Walker gone. Nolan Smith could go. Trayvon Walker could go. I mean,
Lewis
Cine could leave. Chris Smith graduates. Latavius Brini graduates. Darren Kendrick's gone. So
Julian Rochester lost his 17th year of eligibility.
Yeah, Julian Rochester. Eventually, you have to kick him out.
No, he's going to come back. He's going to come back.
He's
going to be
the
a
old
player
man in the club. He
like
can't come back in no more.
Look, he walked senior night. I said, this has got to be the 12th senior night he's walked.
Well, he has to get a ball for everybody in his family. Everybody wants one of those assigned balls. Mama got one. Now Dad's got one. Brother wants one. So, guys like that. But when you're looking at, okay, who's going to replace him? And you mentioned seeing those inside linebackers, seeing Javon Bullard out there, where it's number 2 on the team in tackles today. Smile Munden, that is a fast guy, But I saw when you saw Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins out there, Tymone Mitchell, Bill Norton. It's like, okay.
So you got Stackhouse, you got Lowe.
Stackhouse is your guy.
Warren Brinson.
Warren Brinson
looked good.
So.
I mean, yeah, you've got guys, and I think,
you're going to reload.
Back.
Yeah, if Georgia wins national championship this year, I don't think fans really care what comes back next year. But this is how Alabama does it every year. They reload. They lose 8-9 guys on offense or 8-9 guys on defense, and then next thing you know, they're back and they're not as great as the year before, but they're still good. And that's what Georgia is getting at now with their recruiting. So where you've got guys like a Sori, a 5-star prospect, Smale Munden, a 5-star guy, these guys just waiting in the wings, ready to go. Beyond creative. They say the best college football has been the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. Look at their scores. We have been better.
In an era which allows you to score a lot easier.
Yeah. Pass interference is easiest thing to get these days.
And you toss guys left and right for targeting.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Receiving wise, 12 receivers got a reception today, 20 receptions total, 4 touchdowns, 2 to Bowers, 1 to old Brett's. How do you say his last name?
Scyther.
I was going to say Seether. So, all right. Scyther. I
Brett.
think that's his. Yeah,
Brett.
Yeah. He got his first touchdown of his career.
That's
and
awesome.
Kenny Mack got himself another receiving touchdown. As far as rushing attack, 4 touchdowns on the ground as well. I'm highlighting the one Jordan Davis touchdown, but you also got one from Edwards, another one from Cook, and then like Trent said, that Zamir one was probably the one play where what was that? Was that it was 21-0, and then Georgia scored again at 28-0. I had to explain to my wife that there are programs that get paid to come play in these games because she was like, I feel so bad for this other team. What's going on? And I'm like, calm down. They're getting paid to come play this game. This is the talent gap. She's like, oh, okay. Is that why you had to buy it on this app? And I'm like, yeah, they're not putting this on CBS. So
right up from where we were sitting, the quarterback for Charleston Southern, his parents are sitting right there. And I mean, they were ecstatic before the game, but it kind of went downhill as the game went. Like they were just praying for his safety. Yeah, as the game went.
I think the cool thing is though for a lot of those guys is that they got to play in front of 92,000 fans, something that they never would have been able to. Was there not 92,000 there? No, 85.
It was probably about close to 80.
But look, we talked about this on the watch along. They get to say we went toe to toe with the number 1 team in the nation. I tackled, Zamir White. Hey, I knocked a pass down that was going to Javon Wims. Yeah, I knocked the pass down that was going to Brock Bowers. I defended that. Remember, there was one the kid knocked the pass down in the end zone, jumps up like no fly zone. It's like it's 42-0, and you're giving him the no fly zone thing. But hey, he did it. He defended the pass.
The guy intercepted the mailman.
Yeah, I intercepted the mailman. Absolutely. Hey, remember I intercepted the pass in the end zone from Carson Beck, kept them out of the end zone. I stopped Georgia from scoring.
Yeah, I stripped the guy after he and I stripped and scored, and then got an unsportsmanlike penalty after it. And and the cool thing is, they were seven. If you're an optimist, which I'm sure their coach is, you're going back into the locker room and saying, "Hey guys, it was 7-7 in the second half. You crushed it."
Yeah,
it doesn't have to. He doesn't have to say against Georgia's third string. He doesn't have to put that part. Yeah, we covered. We've got somebody in the chat.
If you go to the top, does that say Georgia had close to 200 yards rushing in the first quarter? Go up.
Let me get back up there. Let's see. First quarter. Yeah, 171 rush yards in the first quarter.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see here. UGA stats. And it wasn't one guy either. I mean, 251 yards, but it was spread out. I mean, that's receiving. Never mind. It still wasn't with just one guy. Zamir had 83, but I mean, it wasn't one guy with 150 or anything like that crazy.
40 has to be.
That just shows Georgia's offense is terrible. They can't run the ball. No rusher had over 100 yards against Charleston Southern.
I think the two 40-yard rushes have to be their longest. Or I know 40-yard for Zeus is his longest of the season.
That one from Cook was beautiful.
Dude, I think the one from Zamir was even better. I mean, because he turned
everybody.
Yeah, he turned on the jets when he got around that corner.
But he's slow, remember?
Yeah, and wasn't slow on that play though.
No, he was not. So basically, they had 251 yards passing, 233 yards rushing.
Yeah, so a total of
which is 230 or 251 yards they shouldn't have had. To me, I'd have run the ball every damn play.
Why? I mean,
so nobody gets hurt.
That game, the first quarter, just so you guys know, lasted 54 minutes.
It was the longest first quarter I've ever been to.
Yeah, because Georgia would score, they would go to commercial,
and they would throw 3 passes, and it would be all be incomplete.
Yeah, 3 passes from Charleston Southern, commercial, and then it would come back. Georgia would score, commercial, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn, this feels like a long time. And somebody tweeted,
keep the ball on the ground, mandatory, everybody
out. 54-minute first quarter. Luckily, the game sped up in the second half and even in the second quarter, really for the most part, but. First quarter was like 28-0, and I felt bad for Charleston Southern, man. I did. The
good thing is those guys came up and they gave Georgia a game, and everybody gets to go in and really enjoy it. Nobody got injured, which is the biggest thing. And you give out we mentioned the news. We had a lot of people asking about what's up with Chris Smith. He didn't play today. We broke the news on the dog vent and on the show that he does have a knee issue. Apparently Kirby Smart confirmed that. Let me go back and find out what Kirby Smart said. So Kirby Smart said Nolan Smith, who has an elbow injury that he suffered against Tennessee last week. He probably could have played today. He should be fine for next week, which is big news and matches what we were broke on the Postgame Overreaction Show last week. We told you what was up with Nolan Smith when no one else knew. We told you here what was going on. And Kirby Smart said Chris Smith's knee buckled during practice, which we said that he had a knee issue and he should be fine. And Kirby Smart said the exact same thing, said it should be okay for next week. So next week with this defense, you get Nolan Smith back, which is huge, and Chris Smith, also huge against Tech, who are not good, who are getting their teeth kicked in. But again, those guys, and honestly, I wouldn't play either one of them next week.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm like, nope, no sense in it. You guys, just like Jamari Sawyer, Jamari Sawyer's missed the last 2 weeks. I wouldn't put Jamari Sawyer out there. Again, maybe that whole thing about getting the rust off, I'm like, look, you don't need to. Just be 100% healthy. Look how slowly they brought back Dominic Blaylock.
They brought him back so slow.
Well, part of it, he did have setbacks too.
Yeah.
Part of it, but again, right now, George Pickens. So Kirby Smart also addressed George Pickens. He says George Pickens is still not cleared yet, despite dressing out.
Really?
There are still some tests he needs to pass, and that's what we have reported. We have reported repeatedly. George Pickens is not cleared for contact yet. Now, is he contacting in practice? Probably. He could be in a black jersey. It doesn't mean he's not going to drop his shoulder and run into somebody, but he's just not cleared yet. But he's closer. So you get him out there. We saw him travel. Then you saw him dress out for warm-ups. Now you've seen him dress out.
I talked about this with Dane earlier. They did the same thing with Blaylock, but Blaylock was a week ahead. So if you're going off the Blaylock timeline, then Pickens would be back next week. Obviously, they're two separate things, but if you're going off the whole, he dressed and then he dressed and practiced and then he dressed fully and practiced and now he played 2 plays. Pickens would play 2 plays next week, and it would be like the weirdest thing in the world, right? Because they both
Shelby don't throw a punch.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, there's anybody that's maybe a hothead, who's a little quick to anger. I don't let them go play tech next week. Nope. I don't need you getting mad. And
second half, yeah. Oh God, could you imagine Jordan Davis getting hit with a targeting penalty or something like that in the second half of the game when it's 35-0 and it's their last drive? And, oh boy.
Speaking of Jordan Davis, he just tweeted out, "What a day! Much love to the team, Dog Nation, and especially the Redcoats for making today extra special. I love y'all."
That guy's going to be loved in Athens for the rest of his life.
Yep.
Never have to pay for a meal or two.
Especially when he wins the title.
Yeah. What were you about to say, Trent?
No, I said, what would Kirby say about that? They're undisciplined. No. That's another touchdown for Arkansas?
Is it? What's the score?
17-14. Alabama scored apparently too.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Are you worried about Ohio State, Trent? Did we talk to you about Ohio State yet?
I didn't see any of the game, so I have no clue what happened. But 49. It was 49-0 when I looked, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. What about
Alabama's defense just getting torched?
Yeah, I saw that in your reflection there. Sam Pittman, man, I'm telling you, that dude's got a lifetime contract in Arkansas as long as he wants to stay there. They would never get rid of that guy after this season.
Still got to win.
Yeah, but I think he will. Your infamous hater is back in the chat, Roddy. He's hating on you.
Wait, the guy whose parents are married?
Jeez.
What?
I don't even know, man.
That's what his mom told me.
Wake Forest.
See, I'm not seeing him anymore, so I just
another. So, as we've talked about, Wake Forest is another team that had an outside chance at the playoffs. They're a one-loss team. Lost today to Clemson, 48-27. So that knocks them out. Helps again with Georgia's chances, just in case, one loss. I'm just saying, you're starting to see these teams get knocked out to where even if Georgia loses that SEC championship game, they still can stay in it. There's only I want to say there's 7 teams, I think, but 2 of them have to play each other. Michigan and Ohio State have to play each other. That's right. 6.
And Oklahoma State's one of them too.
Yeah, so there's not many that are left. So around the league, Cincinnati is winning against SMU. For some reason, people thought since this was a trap game for Cincinnati, Cincinnati's 20-0, 22-0 over SMU with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. So
it was like they sprung the trap early.
When you have nobody on your schedule, you shouldn't have a trap game.
Yeah, it's Cincinnati's remaining schedule. Does not look that tough either. They have the rough and tough East Carolina University is their last game. That'll be on ABC, guys, at 3:30, just in case. You're going to be a 3:30 ABC game. Yeah, that's their last game, and then they will be undefeated. I don't know.
Yeah. Did we lose Paul there?
It's a good pose, Paul.
Yeah. Paul's internet's about as good as his commentary. It's just so mean. I don't know. Just going through the comments here. Bama's getting a lot of help here. The refs took the score back from Hamwich. Oh, I know Hamwich. Another one of our good posters. Appreciate that.
It's first and goal at the 1, though.
Now, let's see him pop it in there. Yeah, I thought it was crazy that it was 56-7 for both games. Ohio State takes it to Michigan State 56-7, and Georgia wins 56-7 over Charleston Southern. So basically, I think Georgia could have scored a lot more had they wanted to, but what a resounding win for Ohio State. That's just kind of mind-boggling, the two scores. Because we're kind of joking early on when both of them were up by like 42-0. We're like, oh, I don't know. Who's going to score more points? The exact same scores. It's kind of creepy.
What's bad about it is, there was those Mel Tucker contract extension talks all week too, to go along with.
I hope he signed that. I hope he signed that contract. I hope he signed that thing.
Sign it before the game. But if you're the AD, you're like, hey, we're going to wait until you've played a real team. I mean, yeah, you beat Michigan, but you didn't beat anybody prior to that.
Do you think he already signed it, or
did
he sign that? Or was it kind of contingent? Was it like, hey, here's what we're offering you? I don't know. That's a lot of money, first and foremost.
Here's the thing. They better just go ahead and give it to him anyway, because if not, he will bolt. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, he is going to be. If Michigan State wants to stay with the big boys and pay big boy money, because you let him go, you're still going to have to. If you want somebody as good as he is, you're going to have to spend that kind of money anyway to hire him.
Yeah,
we see this all the time. Let's fire our coach and go get somebody. And they fire the coach and they go, we're going to go get Dabo. And Clemson's like, well, no, because whatever you think you and your alumni and donors and everything can afford, Alabama's going to match it. Clemson's going to match it. LSU's going to match it. Georgia's going to match it. Kirby Smart's going to be one of the top paid coaches in the nation. You can fire your head coach at LSU, come out to Kirby, throw out crazy numbers. Georgia's going to match it. You just can't, even if you are a blue blood, you're not just going to be able to go and poach somebody who's good, because now a lot of these other teams that you'd be able to hire guys away from are stepping up to the plate with the money.
What do you think Kirby ends up at after this year? He's at $7 million right now.
I think he'll be a $10 million a year guy.
Yeah.
If he wins a title, in other words, there is no upper limit on this. We're seeing offensive and defensive coordinators making $2-3 million. I can definitely see a $10 million a year deal out there. So wouldn't shock me. Again, that's with winning I don't even think he has to win the title to get.
I don't think so either. Yeah, he's at $7 million.
This isn't. I mentioned in a column. This isn't your one bite at the apple. Yeah, you lose a bunch of these guys on defense, but look who your offense is going to be better next year. Your offensive line will be better. You've got some talented wide receivers coming. Brock Bowers is still going to be there. Darnell Washington's still going to be there.
You could have
Roderick Jones.
We got Stetson running out for his Julian Rochester 7th year.
Yeah,
I was going to say, Stetson's going to be their third-year guy, man. I mean,
he did run out.
Stetson might transfer.
He did run out.
He's going to play somewhere. That was in my column, but he would say he sticks around, or JT Daniels sticks around. JT has missed so much of the year. Maybe he doesn't go pro. It would be a bad idea for him to go pro.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, no.
So he sticks around, and now you've got a healthy Jermaine Burton, a healthy Marcus Rosemy-Jack-Saint, and a healthy Arian Smith. All of a sudden, maybe your offense is your powerhouse, and you're kind of reloading on the defense. Your schedule's not going to be too insane. So all of a sudden, in other words, you're getting your rarefied. This isn't a all or nothing shot. So if you want to continue that great recruiting and you want to continue being in the playoff talk and being ranked number one and stuff like that, you got to keep the man that's doing it. He's going to have to reload with some position coaches.
Yeah.
Some guys are going to get hired away. But, if Jimbo Fisher, you see what's happening, people go looking for him, and then Texas A&M steps up and gives him ridiculous amounts of money, and they all share the same
Jimmy Sexton
agent. Jimmy's like, hey, my client over here is getting $9 million a year, and you're only paying my other client $7 million. Well, my other client, the second client beat the first client head to head, and he's been out recruiting him.
Yeah.
I got a third person. There's another person over here that's looking at my second client.
How weird is that? That's got to be so weird. You're like trying to hire a guy, and you're like, all right, let me call. Hey, we're going to fire this guy. Okay, yeah, I'm the agent for him. Yeah, all right. But you want that other guy? Yeah, I got him too. All right, cool. Yeah. He's just like making his own deals. He like prints it out on one and he puts it on the other side. It's like, all right, here we go. Yep, signs this side. I don't know. That guy's. You want to talk about coaching searches and knowing what's going on? Jimmy Sexton knows everything that's going on in the SEC. He knows who's getting fired this season.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I want people to understand that a lot of times when the news comes out that a guy's fired or is going to be fired, we're thinking he's got to win these last 3 games. This is my theory, and I won't mention how I know it, but I did not expect after the last year, Mark Richt, when he lost to Florida, the writing was on the wall then.
Yeah.
And again, it's not like you reach out to Mark and ask him, but Miami knew in October that he wasn't coming back, and he was hired in Miami shortly thereafter. Just saying, this stuff is done well ahead, and it's not always and those coaches and even the agents sometimes would say, look, we had no idea that this was going to happen. But people in your camp did, and people in your camp were working, and when I say camp, the schools, this stuff's going on way in advance. So
what about that news that came out this week? I think Mary Beth Smart got on 960 The Ref and said that the South Carolina AD was in their living room the day Mark Richt got fired. Ray Tanner was there trying to hire him. That's pretty weird, right? This is something we never heard.
No, they needed that was a lot of people speculated that one of the reasons
Georgia moved so fast.
Remember, because they finished out the game with a win, or finished out the season with a win, went to the bowl game to get that 10th win, which he wasn't there for. But so he beats Georgia Tech, right? And then that night flies to Washington State and tweets out a picture the next morning of him and Jacob Eason sitting together or something, or a picture. I don't even. Can he tweet it then?
Yeah, it was something weird. Yeah, I don't know who sent it out, but I remember.
Or maybe Eason did. He a picture of him because they can send out, hey, look who's at my house. So, I mean, he hit that red-eye flight to Washington to show, hey, I've still got this, 5-star quarterback coming in, and 24 hours, 48 hours, he was fired. Yeah. Because a lot of people speculate the reason they did it when they did it was because they knew that Kirby was about to be hired by South Carolina, and that was their guy. And remember, we did a bunch of hot boards for potential coaches, but we told you from the beginning the number one guy is Kirby Smart. And a few days later, we said, look, it is a 95, 99, whatever we said, 90-something% deal that he's going to be the next head coach at Georgia. But we were just waiting to hear that he had signed the deal, And then somebody broke it. Kirby Smart, the next head coach, if everything goes according to plan. Now, you don't get to report shit like that. Come on. It's like, is he or is he not? So, but again, you're right. That was, and it wasn't just, everybody knew that Kirby Smart was the number one guy on it because they'd gone after him, and everybody knew that that was the one place that he wanted to come back to was Georgia. He was holding out for a big school. And that's what happened with Dan Lanning or Todd Monken. Do you take a Georgia Southern job? No. Would you take a Florida? Would you take a Virginia Tech? A USC, something like that? Maybe. But I mean, Dan Lanning probably could have taken Memphis last year.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, God, Memphis is good, but you stick around, you can get something better.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the hottest names on the coaching board, I think, this year.
Absolutely. Todd Monken too.
Yeah, once you get past like James Franklin, I feel like his name's there every year for whatever reason. James Franklin to LSU, James Franklin to USC. And it's just every year, whichever job pops up, like James Franklin. And it's like, what? I don't know. Once you get past that name, Dan Lanning's going to be right there. He's going to be close.
Absolutely.
Probably something to do with Jimmy Sexton.
You would imagine, right? You would think.
He does.
Moving forward to Tech, guys. Anything to worry about with Tech? And just injuries again, right? I know it's weird, but
them trying to throw one of your players through a wall.
Yeah, chop blocking the wrong guy. I mean, they have nothing. They're not bowl eligible.
I think you got to go into that game and get your core guys out. Try to get the score up. Get core guys out by halftime, because if something does happen, you avoid that target in the second half where you would miss the first half of the SEC championship.
That's why I said don't take anybody that's a hothead. Don't even let them go down there. So. And watch out for the refs. Low Elo Joe. Yep. I would be worried about the referees in that game going, oh, well, that's targeting. He's out the first.
Yeah.
You know,
some Alabama fans refereeing that game. Throws out Jordan Davis right there in the second half. I like this. James Franklin is the best slightly above average coach of all time. That is 100% true. That is 100% true. His name gets mentioned more than anybody else. For what reason? No idea.
I really want to see he and Todd Grantham go at it up at Vanderbilt.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, those two guys just made more money off of being average than
being tough guys.
Yeah.
One day, James Franklin's going to get a job, and he's going to hire Grantham as defense coordinator.
And it's just going to come full circle.
That would be fantastic. I absolutely love that.
Wrapping up, though, 56-7 against Charleston Southern. We knew it was going to be a blowout. Georgia put up 49 points in the first half. It's the most points that they've put up in a half since 1950. So 56-7. Would have liked to have seen Georgia move the ball a little bit more on offense in the second half. Didn't have to, though. And the 7 points for Charleston Southern came off of a weird play that you're probably not going to see ever again. So overall, 56-7. You can't complain. The biggest thing was no injuries in this game that we know about. Nobody carted off the field. Nobody walking off the field. I'm sure some guys are banged up, bruised up, but that's to be expected going into the game against Tech. But I think you're favored by 35 points in Atlanta next week. I mean, so you're all right there.
Just 35?
It might be more. It might be more, honestly. It might, as being conservative, 35. It might be the biggest spread between the two teams ever.
I'm going to say 42.5.
Damn. Is this a rivalry still?
Lose to them, you'll see it be a rivalry.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's just not one of those things. I do want to give a shout out to our friends at Rogue Apothecary. If you actually use promo code Bulldogs10, you get a discount on your order. That's BULLDOGS 10, and they will give you a discount on it. Their Battle Balm is what a lot of our friends over at the Orange Blood site, our Texas site, absolutely rave about, especially if you have like a knee or elbow inflammation. Maybe you need to get some of that stuff and put it on Noah Smith's elbow or Chris Smith's knee. What about all the Smiths guys? Arian Smith busted up. Noah Smith broken up. Chris Smith busted up.
Oh,
Tyke Smith
out.
Oh,
jeez. All four Smiths.
Yeah, all four.
Hey, some of these guys need to change their name.
Yeah. Beyond Creative said, how much Charleston Southern get for showing up today? Did they release that? They released that, don't they?
You can find out. We normally don't go looking for it, but it's usually $1 million or
like 1.2 or something like that. I would think it's probably 1.2 million.
I was gonna say I wouldn't show up for less than 1.2. Just for the. I don't say everyone has a price, but to me, there are a lot of teams that need a game like this. So and you only want to play like one or.
I'm guessing as a player for Charleston Southern, though, you understand that you're going to have to go get one of these games a year.
Yeah.
But it still sucks, right?
But at the same time, you don't get to play in a stadium like that. You don't get to play against guys like that.
Yeah, but you also don't have to
lose,
but you're going to get your ass whooped by Jordan Davis for 2 quarters.
Yeah, not everybody. I mean, if I'm a center, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take him on, see what he can do. They're not scared. I mean, yeah, he might throw me around, but I mean, football players aren't pansies. They're like, screw it. I'll go toe to toe with you and see what happens. If you go into games sometimes knowing you're going to lose, but you're like, I love the game, and all I got to do is win my battle, and then hope the guy next to him wins his battle. And if you lose, you're like, okay, I got beat by a better guy. But then you get to go back, it's like, hey, it helped us. It helped our program. Because again, it's not just their football program. Some of these checks will fund a ton of the entire athletic budget. So it's a big help for those guys, and like how many guys would give their right arm to go out and play it down inside Sanford Stadium?
Yeah, you're right. And they did that. And like you said, like we talked about earlier,
There's a ton of them have great stories they can tell now. They
one
went
guy gave a leg in the first quarter. So
what'd you say?
So one guy gave a leg in the first quarter because he got carted off.
Oh yeah.
And the same thing. It's like, well, they could get hurt. Yeah, they didn't get hurt in a regular game. I mean, that was a high school game last night. They hauled, 3 or 4 kids got hurt. There's nothing worse than laying on your back. I've been there. You're laying on your back. You're in pain. You look up and you see your coach looking through your face mask. You okay? Yeah, coach. I mean, of course, somebody's hit your nuts up into your throat. I'm gonna be fine, coach. I just need to catch my breath. And
right.
You're just like, but because you're expected to say you're fine, even if they can't find your arm. I'm okay, coach. Yeah, we're good. So.
Oh man.
All right,
looking forward to next week. Yeah, guys, looking forward to next week. If you're not already, guys, please hit that subscribe button on the UGA Sports YouTube channel. We've hit that 20K, but we're aiming for even higher. We've got cool stuff coming up for you. Film Don't Lie on the YouTube channel. Also, Rumors versus Facts, the recruiting show. We've got our UGA Sports Live. Damn, we have content almost every single day on the YouTube page.
If I can work out I'm trying to work out a deal with Jason Butt where maybe he and I basically have a daily show.
Oh, damn.
Well, I thought would be fun. It'd be very, very low key, but he puts out that great wrap up each day, right?
Yep. We
could just go down the list on his wrap up.
Yeah, his wrap up is awesome.
Just hey, here's the daily notes. Or I was thinking it'd be fun to do just a Friday night show. I mean, we had a bunch of guys on staff out on the road on Friday nights, but maybe not during the football season. But just hey, a Friday night, hey, let's have a drink. I'll sit here and grab my scotch, and you grab whatever you're drinking, and everybody pours one. We all have knock back a drink, and just talk football. Talk whatever you want to talk about. So I think we basically are just a Friday night hangout.
Dogs and liquor.
Yeah, dog talk and liquor. Let's just do that.
There we go.
Anyway, we're going to do more and more on this. The reason I bring that up is we're going to do more and more on this YouTube channel. So be sure to hit subscribe. We hit 20,000. Hell, we're on our way to 21.
Yep, and we will get there before you know it. Probably before this SEC championship game. Aaron Calloway says, "I like that idea. Bourbon and cigars with Roddy."
Absolutely. Oh, we can do a little.
Can we smoke? Yeah, I was going to say, can we smoke on live?
I have not lit one up. I've chewed on them, and then the minute we go,
right.
The minute you hit pause,
yeah, you did. Yeah, and then I accidentally came back after the video and gotcha.
And Roddy was lighting it up.
Yeah,
victory cigar, man. Come on.
Yeah, no. This should be fun, though, guys. This is the last little bit of the run. Georgia fans, enjoy it. It's hate week against Tech.
Oh, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Next week is Thanksgiving.
Trent, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? You live right down the road. You going to have some turkey or what's up? Can I come by and get a plate?
I'm going to Pigeon Forge for a couple of days. So
nice.
Me and the family of 5 might probably be a struggle. I'll probably be ready to come back by Monday. So
have fun with that. I think
we'll be back Wednesday and ready to roll for next weekend.
Yeah, I think we're going over to the in-laws and then maybe hosting one on Friday or Saturday. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. What are you doing, Roddy?
Just let me know what time.
What you got going on?
Traditional thing on we thought about running down to Orange Beach and having a kind of something at the my aunt's condo down there because apparently there was a water leak with the next door, and I wanted to go check and see if there's anything up to that, if there had any damage or anything. But with my mother-in-law's situation, we wanted to be here where we could actually see her. So we're just going to do a standard Thursday thing, Thanksgiving dinner. So be nice, especially considering the last 2 years have been a bit odd. So
yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Are you a Black Friday shopper, Roddy? No? Trent, you look like a Black Friday shopper, Trent.
I'm a Black Friday sleeper. Nah.
I used to go out there, man. It used to be fun.
I do stuff online, but I won't.
Yeah.
I do want to mention one of our sponsors, Dead Soxy, has a deal right now, the Score Dogs promotion, where they are giving 1% off for every point Georgia scored. So Georgia scored 56. So you can now get their socks, and they have new Georgia styles out for 56% off for the next couple of days. So jump on there if you have stuff you want to get for friends or family, or yourself. They're great. Dang. So hit that Dead Soxy. Use the promo code ScoreDogs and get 50. They've never done this. 35% was their top, but they're doing 56% off, over half off on all their socks and stuff. So hit them up.
Kirby he should have scored 90 today.
Well, they capped it.
They capped it at 60.
And so I got a text 60. Halfway through the game. They're like, God, it's already 49-0. Thank God we capped it at 60. We've never done 60%, like not even close. I'm like, well, you're going to do it today, baby. I got to 56. So I'm with Aaron Callaway now. You don't have to do the crazy Black Friday stuff anymore because you just do it all online.
Yeah. It used to be fun, though, back in the day, man. Like you go with a couple buddies and you just go get a TV. Every year somebody would get a TV. And that's what it was. Now everybody has TVs. Meet me at the Hangout, Roddy.
The Hangout's a great place down in Orange Beach. I absolutely love it. But see, I actually thought about calling the show the Friday Night Hangout.
Hey, there you go.
But I don't want to get a copyright infringement lawsuit from our boys at the Hangout in Orange Beach. But
Beyond Creative says, all I want for Christmas is a dub at Lucas Oil Stadium in January. Hey, speaking of which, that's going to be my raise this year, right? You're taking me with you there?
No, have you seen the flight, the cost for flights up there?
No, don't care either.
Have you seen the availability of flights up there?
You could drive.
You've put me in the back of a Dodge Challenger before and driven me halfway across the country. We'll do it again.
Yeah. But this time we're not stopping every 13 seconds so you can smoke.
Yeah, I'm done smoking.
I'm dying. Everything's itchy.
All right, guys, that's the Postgame Overreaction Show, the POS. I'm Paul Maharry, Trent Smallwood, Maharry and Nabulsi. We appreciate you guys so much. Let me play this video and then get us out of here. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll talk to you next week after Georgia whoops Tech.